Welcome. Today I read from the Lesser Babylonian Book of Importantness. Book of Importantness 624. 39. In old days, before the advent of sliced bread, men had to toil, even in their homes after hours of hard work in the fields. The slicing of bread was hard on the people, getting crumbs all over their kitchen counters, because the desert air made bread harden within just a few hours, and the Lesser Babylonians, whose houses were hardly a refuge from the wind, did little to stop this plague of dry, hard bread. There was talk of doing away with sandwiches altogether, until a brave band of men decided to take action. This band, including Terry the Destroyer, who was the father of Ira, who was only 3 years old, and Tony the deaf hearer of Babel, set out one morning to find sharper knives and humidifiers. The band had been badly wounded the previous night by several Zephyrus wolves, and so were moving rather slowly. That night Timothy the architect said, "Tony, thy fault is this. If thy stupid ass didn't maketh that hair of my chin comment, the wolves might have goneth away." Tony the deaf hearer of Babel, who was struggling to stay upright due to his injury, wherein both of his legs had been eaten, said, "What?" While he was paying attention to Timothy the architect, he failed to notice the rock in front of him, upon which he fell, breaking his collarbone. They had been moving so slowly that they were only a few yards from Lesser Babylon, so they decided to head back. That night, in the midst of a vicious wolf attack, Tony began to hear voices. Mostly they were saying things in sacred, incomprehensible languages. Things like, "Ah, I'm being eaten." But then other voices came into his ears, whereon he heard, "Tony, thy holy quest is as follows. Thou shalt goeth unto the holy ziggurat, and there shalt thou receive the prophecy, and spread the word throughout the land." Tony replied, "What?" After the voice repeated itself several times, it finally broke down and wrote its instructions in cuneiform. Tony said, "Oh, I hear you." Book of Importantness 819. As Tony the deaf hearer ascended the final stair of the ziggurat, pulling himself up with his hands, and dragging his body behind, he was given the prophecy he was promised. The voice said, "In days to come there shall descend from the sky, these little dudes with big eyes that look all weird. Kind of like the French, only more hygienic, and less drunk. The little dudes will be messengers and servants from the high powers of the sky, and they shall deliver unto thee the sign of the dragon, which thou shalt record forevermore, as the most powerful of symbols. Before long, the symbol will be lost, and only will it be recovered in times to come, when the chosen one quests after it, and when the chosen one recovers the symbol, then shall he be made ruler of the Lesser Babylonians, and deliver them to their proper place, and save them and their legs from the vicious jaws of the Zephyrus wolves. This shall come to pass." Tony said, "What?" After explaining for several hours, the voice broke down and wrote it in cuneiform, whereon he said, "I get it now," and delivered the message unto the people, who rejoiced as much as they could considering their severe wounds from the last wolf attack. Book of Importantness 1517. 27. The Lesser Babylonians carved the sacred sign of the dragon into the handles of their weapons, and into their shields, which they learned from the messengers should be made from wood rather than papyrus, and began to successfully defend themselves against the wolves. This led to the Lesser Babylonians' worship of the powers of the sky, and of the dragon, as mortal enemy of the vicious powers of the earth, whose wolves were their worst enemies. Upon seeing the insignia of the dragon, the Babylonians laughed at the Lesser Babylonians, saying, "Thy lines in rectangle are not the sacred symbol, but only some stuff that Nebuchadnezzar cometh up with while drunk to maketh fun of you who buildeth without bricks." The Lesser Babylonians said, "Fucketh you," whereupon they were attacked and killed except for those who yet had legs with which to run. These were few, and great despair came over the people. Terry the Destroyer, and his son Ira, who was now 7 years of age, were among this group, which otherwise consisted of Heckle, Jekyll, Minnie, Mickey, Dopey, Sneezy, Harpo, Groucho, Lemmy, Squeaky, Hawkeye, Margaret, Edna, Beverly, Blair, Tootie, Natalie, Joe, Alex, Elise, Jennifer, Mallory, Jared, the movie star, and the rest. Editor's note, the rest was later changed to include the Professor, and Marianne, but I have opted for the original black and white version of the text. These last remnants of the tribe of Lesser Babylonians now took on the moniker Your Mom's a Bitchians, so that whenever the Babylonians said the name of their forsaken cousin's tribe they would be insulted in the worst way. Them, to keep from being made fun of further, they destroyed the sacred sign, forgetting the prophecy given to Tony the deaf hearer of Babel, or misunderstanding his prophecy because of his speech impediment. Book of Importantness 19:1. 2. And them, in his 17th year, being the only member of his tribe who still had legs with which to run, it was revealed that Ira the Destroyer must be the chosen one, prophesied to deliver his people, and recover the sacred sign. And so, taking up his destroying stick, and his papyrus shield, he went into the wilderness, which was not very far away, to seek out the sacred symbol of the dragon,